My name's Mr. Delay, and well, this is my classroom. We're at the railroad crossing on Main Street in Fort Morgan, Colorado, about 77 plus miles northeast of Denver. About an hour and a half, depending on how fast you drive. Today, this is my classroom, and we've got some things we're gonna do. We got a poem I'm gonna read you. It's called One Art by a lady by the name of Elizabeth Bishop. Our writing prompt, well, you have to wait to see what that is, but we're gonna do it together. Our lesson, our mini lesson, is gonna be on theme. And lastly, our song and artist of the day, ha! Everly Brothers. I know, old school, but I think you're gonna like them. My name is Mr. Delay, and class is now in session.
Talk nerdy to me. You name all 12 of the darks, I can't resist that. And once the chorine go on, I think that ours match. Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
Well, welcome back to the classroom. It's Tuesday, March 31st, 2020, the last day of March in what has been a crazy month. And I'm hopefully here to give you some normalcy, give you a sense of the familiar, which means the first thing we're going to do in part one is we're going to read a poem. This poem is a pretty short one. It's by a lady by the name of Elizabeth Bishop. All right, so I'm going to read through it. I'm going to display it on the screen for you so you can see what I'm reading. And I actually annotated this for college. So I want you to see, kind of look as you read with me as to what I circled and maybe what notes I made. And that might help you kind of understand the poem a little better. So I'm going to press this button. Here we go. Elizabeth Bishop, One Art. The art of losing isn't hard to master. So many things seem filled with the intent to be lost, that their loss is no disaster. Lose something every day. Accept the fluster of lost door keys, the hour badly spent. The art of losing isn't hard to master. Then practice losing farther, losing faster. Places and names, and where it was you meant to travel. None of these will bring disaster. I lost my mother's watch. And look, my last or next to last of 3 loved houses went. The art of losing isn't hard to master. I lost 2 cities, lovely ones, and vaster some realms I owned, 2 rivers, a continent. I miss them, but it wasn't a disaster. Even losing you, the joking voice, a gesture I love. I shan't have lied. It's evident the art of losing's not too hard to master, although it may look like, write it, like disaster. So, that poem is interesting for a lot of different reasons. She starts out talking about how, if you lose your keys, don't worry about it. And as the poem goes, she loses more. She loses, like, door keys. She losing places and names. And then she loses her mother's watch. And then she loses cities. And then she loses continents, rivers. And she continues to kind of say, but it wasn't a disaster. But then she kind of gets to even losing you, the joking voice, a gesture I love. I shan't have lied. It's evident the art of losing's not too hard to master, although it may look like disaster. So she's broken but not defeated. Maybe she's numb to the feelings, yet still resilient. This kind of reads like a breakup letter, maybe. Like, well, I lost you, but you know what? It's not the end of the world because you were bad for me. There's a lot of different interpretations you can have as you read through this because it starts to build in magnitude of, wow, you've lost a lot. And then all of a sudden she's like, and losing you, that wasn't a disaster. And you start to kind of wonder, what's the implicit going on here? Remember, implicit is the stuff that's not being said. The stuff that you have to read between the lines to go, okay, what's Miss Bishop trying to say here? What's the story? Versus the explicit, which is, well, she said that it's, not losing you is not a disaster. Okay, well, that's what she meant. But I think there's more to it. I think there's more emotion and feeling to dig in here, which I get a kick out of as a literacy teacher. So there's your poem for the day, Elizabeth Bishop. So look her up if you'd like. Check her out if you will. Part 2. Part 2 is the writing prompt. And I'm actually going to get my camera so that you can actually see what I'm doing here. So the prompt for today is, what in your opinion is strength? What in your opinion is strength? So I'm going to give, let's do 3 minutes? Let's do 2 minutes. Let's do a 2-minute timer. And you can do bullet points, you can do it in Google Docs, you can do it in your journal, however you want to do it. But I want you to go ahead and write what you think, in your opinion, what is strength? Your timer starts now. Okay. So hopefully you got something either jotted down or maybe put in your journal or wrote in Google Docs. Mine, what I wrote, was strength, in my opinion, is strength of a great many things. I think strength of character, strength of physique, strength of courage, strength of patience, of love, of hope. I think strength is something that is bigger than we think, not a simple definition or a quick motto on a product. I think strength is within and around all of us. And I consider my strength one of my greatest assets, which means one of my greatest qualities or greatest things. I'm not as strong as the strongest person in the world, but I've learned in my 37, soon to be 38 years, I've learned a lot about being strong and being strong in many different ways. So I think strength, I think we think of a quick answer, oh, strength means you're Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever, but it's important for us to kind of look at the explicit, which is what the strength definition would be, but also look at the implicit, which is the stuff that requires us to imply and interpret and kind of dig in between the lines. Kind of the theme of what we've been talking about today. So hopefully that was a good writing prompt for you. Conversation about theme. Now I'm going to put the notes up on Google Classroom. They're all there for you. A theme is... it's a controlling idea that the author wants the reader to concentrate on while reading and thinking about the book. It's not usually directly or explicitly stated. Or we talked about explicit is absolutely black and white, this is what it's saying. It's more implicitly said, which it requires us to imply, interpret, and kind of interrogate the meaning and ask it kind of questions. Be like, wait, what do you really mean? What's going on here? What's between the lines? It's what's said without really saying it. In the poem we read, there's a lot that's not being said there. There's a lot up for interpretation for us to take and interpret what's going on there. So themes, are generally not the main topic, they're not the main idea or the central idea. They're generally what we call a universal concept that can be applied to many types of literature and media and withstand the test of time. So not just like, oh, well, I think this is the theme. It's a theme that has to be strong. It has to have some good considerable evidence and backup and to be able to be shown in the text or the media that you're looking at to apply that theme to. In Romeo and Juliet, we talked about this. It's forbidden love and how death can come to those who try to love another from a warring group or a faction or a lifestyle or something like that. There's also other themes we talked about. Coming of age is one. Time is precious. Death may come too soon is another theme. Abandonment, alienation, rejection is another theme that we looked through. I'll put these on the screen as well. Believe in oneself, taking risks, ambition, courage, self-esteem. These are, again, universal themes that can be applied to a lot. Families and loyalty, you can find that in a lot of young adult fiction, but also in a lot of fiction itself. Family loyalty, you can find it in Cinderella. The character overcome these relationships, and sometimes they're repaired and sometimes they're not. In Cinderella, the relationship between the stepsisters and Cinderella is not repaired. They're put to work in the house. They're made to work. So that's a brief kind of overview of theme. For me, my theme of my life has been, I would say, underdog. And it's not because it's not that I'm not smart enough, but it's that I think that in some ways people have always, before I got my college degree, they didn't know if I was good enough. I got to spend 1.5 years in the Philippines because I went up and I proved myself that I could do the job and that I was knowledgeable and that I really, really had a hunger to go travel internationally for the first time in my life. Got my passport, closed up my apartment. I took all these huge risks, but they didn't believe that I could do it, and so I had to prove it. I had to fight on and show them that I could be who I was. So use that in what you're building for the learning opportunity that I presented for you this week, and it's called the symbolism, the theme, and the compare and contrast. Keep in mind, coming in Friday, if you would like for me to feature one of your slides to kind of show off the work you've done, let me know. Shoot me an email. Say, hey, Mr. DeLay, I want to show off this slide on Friday. I think you should show that to the people as an example of some good, cool work, and I'll let you know, hey, cool, I'll put it on the list. Part 4. Part 4 is the musical artist. And the musical artist I chose for today is the Everly Brothers. Yes, I'm going a lot of old school this week. Next week, I'll start moving into the modern age that you enjoy. One of their famous songs is called Wake Up Little Susie. So I'll put a link in the description below for you to go open it up and look at it, or you can Google it, or you can YouTube it, whatever. But it's the Everly Brothers, Wake Up Little Susie. And the song goes, wake up, little Susie, wake up. We've both been sound asleep. Wake up, little Susie, and weep. The movie's over. It's 4 o'clock, and we're in trouble deep. Wake up, little Susie. So the idea behind the song is kind of lighthearted, like, hey, they're high schoolers, and they went out to a movie. And in those days, you could stay in a movie theater, and they wouldn't kick you out. But they fell asleep in the movie theater. It's 4 a.m. Nothing's happened, but they're in trouble because now everyone's going to say things. And so this song, there's the implicit and the explicit. There's the explicit, like, well, they fell asleep and watched a movie too late. But the implicit is, what's going on? There's also a line here. Oh, yeah. So there's a lyric that says, I told your mama that you'd be in by 10. Well, Susie, baby, looks like we goofed again. So it seems like there's a pattern here that they don't mind their curfews. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And so it's kind of just tongue-in-cheek, kind of like, haha. The audio is, no, they weren't. They just fell asleep watching a movie. But it plays at that idea of image and what people will think of them and what their mom and dad are going to think of them and how much trouble they're going to be in. It's really quite, I think, a very cool, deep and interpretational lyric. That's the lesson. That's the bell. Class is over. Until the next class period, we're together. Stay safe, stay healthy, and know that you are loved. See you in the next one. Wake up, little Susie. Wake up, little Susie. We gotta go home. Ba-dum, ba-dum, boom. Wow! Elizabeth, researcher, check out her other poems if you'd like, and go from there. So the next kind of warm-up is the next part of this. Try it again. Versus the last one, you couldn't see anything. I'm going to try and get this so that it works like it should. It should be able to just kind of... I'm trying to get it so you can see what I'm writing. And this is turning into a... Oof, this thing is a challenge. I'm smarter than this. I know, I promise. I'm smarter than a cantankerous creation of whatever this is. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is part of the vlog bloopers that'll be entertaining. Watch Mr. Delay wrestle with a tripod for his camera and watch the entertainment. Chuckle at his inability to manage it. Okay, so you'll only see as much as I can write here. Should be enough. Now, this poem oh boy. This poem, and it's quite short, but I want you to see it. I have this new camera, and sort of it's working and sort of it's not. As you can see, emphasis on the not. Not new camera, sorry, new mount. This new thing that I'm trying to get to work. Oh my goodness. You would think I would know how to do this well. But apparently not today. Okay, get up there. Okay, there we go. Whew. Dropping hot bars, hot beats on a radio station that doesn't exist.